All right. So I don't have access to my PC at the moment, sort of. So I'm doing this from the comfort of a mobile phone. And I wanted to talk about this this actual controversy. Is actually controversy around this whole thing in regards to Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection and stuff like that. That's been going on and it feels like it's hit a bit of a crescendo. And I just wanted to talk about it. I've seen other creators talk about it, and I was kind of going to leave it alone. But the more it's sitting with me, the more it's really bugging me, and not for the reasons you may think. Right? You saw it in the thumbnail, and I will post a link in the description for you guys to actually see where the actual thumbnail image came from. And it is by Dan. I've got no issue with Dan, right? But for whatever weird reason, he has decided to not only along with me, but Dynasty is also the Thinny, and others have just gone on this blocking spree. It's so strange because a lot of us have actually been pimping out and hyping up naturally because we are genuinely excited about this collection. Some of us have been waiting a really long time for some of these games to return. It's all very exciting, to be happening. And, obviously a lot of us have done speculation, hype videos, hoping videos, as you do when you don't know what's coming out and stuff. And I absolutely find that sort of thing very exciting to cover. That sort of like, what if, right? Anyway, so I get tagged in and I'm like, I noticed that like Dynasty and also Godly from is it Next Gen podcast. Hope I got that right. I'm half tired at the moment. Were like, I don't know if Next Gen was blocked, but Dynasty was, and he's calling out Dan about this. Apparently because the thumbnail, like obviously the thumbnail of the video and the tweet, that's being shown, and I'll read it out for you. It says here, "This was my last appointment of Gamescom, and all the info I'd stored up came pouring out. As I see all kinds of incorrect assumptions and allegations everywhere, I was really happy to answer some of those fan questions for a pro site. Hopefully you don't fall asleep." Now, what he's talking about here is the Mortal Kombat or MK Secrets interview, which is a fantastic interview. I watched it live last night along with guys like Interloco and Headlocked. We were just, chatting in chat. It was a fantastic interview that asked a lot of great questions. But I'm just curious, right? Because, what are you talking about with these incorrect assumptions and allegations everywhere? I mean, assumptions, assuming something's in there. Is that what you're talking about? I don't see a problem with that. I think that's perfectly fine. I think you can absolutely assume things may or may not be in there. I know for the longest time, ever since I spoke to Stephen, that obviously there's certain things that people have wanted, and due to licensing or technical issues, certain things are not, sort of added in there for whatever reason at the time. And of course, on this channel, I'm still going to hope for gold. Not that gold's my favorite. It's just that it's kind of like it's like that. I don't know. It's kind of like that completionist thing in me. It's like she's got to have it. She's got to have it. Then it'll look good. The whole shelf will look good. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, but it's this allegations thing that really sort of is annoying. Like that. It's rubbing me the wrong way. I don't care about being blocked. I'm pretty sure the blocking thing was probably an accident. Sometimes when people get quote tweeted in with stuff and people don't want to hear it, they just block everyone that's been a part of it, right? And that's fine. That doesn't bother me. But again, I go back to my position that the only truly the only position that we all have that actually matters and counts and is listened to is the customer, right? We as the customer hold all the power. We're very grateful for being able to purchase and play games, especially ones that we love, truly love, or wanted to come back. But the power rests with us. It always has, right? And while I'm very grateful that these people can do something I can't, they're only able to do it with a hope that it sells and sells very well. And I'm sure it will. However, this is really disturbing attitude to have. You know, like, the game hasn't even come out. There's a massive history of developers, you know, and whatnot going around and blocking people, you know, and basically sort of making like veiled sort of like that. I mean, to me, this is like a veiled sort of accusation, if you will, to say that there is incorrect assumptions and allegations elsewhere. Well, what are you talking about? Are we talking about shin fits? Let's talk about shin fits, right? Because I bet that guy thinks he's so, you know, justified. Well, his interview was crap. It was not clear, because you can't say, well, I mouthed the words without you showing it, and then everyone just has to believe it. A severely broken clock can be right, maybe once a day, right? But then he went out and he slandered a whole bunch of creators and made out that they didn't give any credit whatsoever. So I don't care whether or not he ended up being correct. You don't run around and just say that people didn't give you credit when the evidence is literally them in the video giving them credit to the person that they got the information from, right? So, you know, I don't trust that sort of individual, especially when they don't do their research on that sort of magnitude, right? Is that the allegations? I don't think so, because I've been perfectly fine with Dan. I think Dan's got a great lot of energy. He seems really happy, but this seems really nasty. This just reeks of nastiness. Like he got pissed off with what? People asking if a game is in there. Now, I know there have been some bad faith actors and people taking this way too far, you know, just in certain comments and stuff like that I've seen on Twitter, right? I'm also going to defend people that sit there and they go, well, no gold, no buy. I've seen a lot of those comments. And why not? Why not? As a customer, when you look at a product, there is there's something in the product that you want, right? There's some linchpin, some hook. And if something in there is not grabbing you, then you have every right under the sun to not purchase this product. You can also share your displeasure, your upset with this thing. That is your right as a customer. As I said, all the power rests with us. And this is a great collection coming out. I'm very much looking forward to it. But today, like, I haven't got the collector's edition, and I was going to get it this week, and I'm sitting there going, do I bother? Is this the attitude that's allowed to just permeate, you know, and make others feel bad and treated in this manner for no reason? Now, again, I don't care about the blocking part. That doesn't bother me. It's this attitude of, all I see is incorrect assumptions and allegations. If we go back and we look at what Stephen Frost said, right, and the way that he handled, you know, a lot of the misinformation and things that were being spread around, he handled it with class. He handled it with absolute class, right, and made sure that, you know, things were left open-ended, right? Now, it's obvious that, like, we don't even have a release date yet. You understand that? We don't even have a release date yet for this thing. So, you know, it was also mentioned in this particular interview, oh, you know, you got to go out and purchase, you know, support it. And I'm going to be supporting it, right? I'll be getting the Steam version as soon as it's made available to purchase, like pre-purchase, right? Because as a collection, as content, I'm very satisfied with what's coming. So I have no issue with that. But I tell you what, these sorts of things, they don't sit well with me, right? These don't, I mean, look, if people are being threatening and stuff, I can understand that, but I haven't seen any threats, right? I've seen people say at the worst, they'll boycott, right? And just general sort of like, well, I don't want to get it if it doesn't have this in there. or certain features or whatever. Like, we know that there's going to be online play outside, like obviously not for the handhelds, but, we're not going to have any lobbies or anything like that on launch. To some people that might be a big deal. To me, it's kind of halfway, right? Because I want to be able to create a lobby and everyone can just jump in and we can all sit in there and then play some matches, with your own communities. Because right now, like Fightcade, which is a free PC app, you can do that right now for free. You can have 3 channels open, meaning you can select 3 games, and you can jump in there and do it for free, right? So this kind of, it just, it really, the longer it sits, the more it's bugging me, right? Because it's the blocking part of it kind of just fit, like, again, could be an accident. People do that in the sense of that they mass block a bunch of people because they think like, I don't want to deal with that. I'm just going to, take these people out. But this really bugs me, right? Because I've felt nothing but excitement and joy for Mortal Kombat for the first time this whole time. And Dan, you sit there and you go, for a pro site, what does this mean? That sounds like a veiled, well, what about all the content creators? What about other websites? What about people on Twitter who are advertising and promoting and stuff like that, right? We're all fans. Do you know what I mean? Every single one of us is a Mortal Kombat fan. There is no hierarchy here of who is a bigger fan, right? We're all in the same boat. And it kind of just, I don't know, man. It just, and I'm actually, first time in like 2 months, I'm sitting there going, it'll pass. I mean, you sleep on it, you'll feel better. But like, that really bugs me, right? And I have to remind myself that the strong position that we have, the only position that really matters, outside of, of anything really, is just that the customer always comes first. The customer position is the correct position, right? Because we hold all the keys to all the doors. Without our money, you don't get anything. You don't get future projects. You don't get good word of mouth or anything like that. Sorry, screensaver kicked in. Right? No, I wasn't suddenly being beamed up by an alien. This really, really bugs the fucking shit out of me. It really does. Right? And again, Dan, got a lot of energy. Obviously very passionate about this sort of stuff. But he's kind of been all over the place with any of these interviews and stuff, and yeah, sure, like let's take his word for it that we've got definitive answers for what's going on. Okay, fine, right? But it almost feels like, I don't know, it almost feels like, now I can fucking finally stick it to you all, put you in your place. That's how it feels. That's actually how it feels, right? And I want to read this comment. Sorry, it just went dark. But one of my head moderators and good mate Ringy said in a response to this, he goes, he says, sounds to me like he said more than he was supposed to and was given a telling off, and now he is covering his tracks by holding everyone. He also blocked Dynasty and the Thingy too. And yeah, even his tweet, he said that all the stuff poured out, right? Now, I know Dynasty mentioned a couple of things in regards to like, what do you, like, people obviously going to speculate and talk about things because we don't know what's coming. You haven't given us like the release schedule or sorry, the games that are going to be coming out. So people are obviously going to speculate and assume, which is perfectly fine. I've actually been enjoying that thoroughly. I think that's been a lot of fun. But is he getting mad at people for getting excited? For talking about this sort of stuff? I mean, you know, like this, yeah, like I said, like the thumbnail, that's the tweet. I'll post a link in the description for it. But this is actually knocked me down a peg. My excitement now has actually like tapered off slightly, because it feels like, you know, well, we're accusing you of apparently all of these things, like assumptions and allegations. Well, what are these assumptions? What are these allegations? Nobody, like what are we saying here? Like, are people accusing them of being frauds? No. No, this is just a blanket statement out there. And then you turn around and you say, oh, I was really happy to answer some fan questions for a pro site. What? So everyone else that spoke to you, you know, everyone else was what? Not as professional enough? Right? We're all fans here. I don't care if we've got a YouTube channel, a fan website, Twitter page. We're all fans here. None of us are professional journalists. We're just asking the questions we're interested in, right? And obviously at this stage in the game, certain questions were able to not only be asked, like inclusion of MK Gold, but also be given an answer. If indeed the answer is true, and that's the hopium kicking in, right? But this kind of outburst is kind of weird. It's very strange. And then you make it look bad by going around and blocking people that for the last 2 months have been talking about this game non-stop, every day, constantly. You know, just hyping it up, getting people excited, telling their old mates that used to play this stuff about it. And what do? You go around and you fucking block the very people that are actually bringing this information to others. You understand how that looks, right? You know, like all of us, you know, I mean, yeah, sure, like obviously if you're doing YouTube and stuff and you got monetization, I guess you're getting paid. But like, yeah, I mean, we're not being paid like a fucking salary here. Like, we're just, you know, and even people that don't have monetization, they're still doing it. Like, we're all doing it because we love it, right? And you say this stuff, and then you essentially cement the statement by blocking people, as if those people are not, they're not the sort. Well, how does this differentiate these actions from Warner Brothers? You know, who get to cherry pick their favorites because they might say the right thing or do the right thing or represent the right thing in their mind. This is not a good look. This is not a good look at all. What are you doing, man? Right? I don't care about what history you have. I don't care about what you've done. It's what you do now. And what you're doing now is making out that we're all a bunch of fucking idiots, right? Who, for months, the last 2 months anyway, have been having a great time talking about this sort of stuff. And then you just basically say, yeah, but, you know, this pro site, I was so happy to talk to this pro site. Why was that? Well, because in the interview, you admitted to going to MK Secrets to cross-reference stuff. Like, well, you don't think we know? We don't think we know what that means, right? It's a website, dude, right? Like MK Secrets has been around for a very long time, and they're fantastic. So have many of these other people who are also fantastic. We're all fans. We're all very excited. This is there's those aliens again. This is not a good look, right? And if this is the way you're going to behave, I don't think you should be in charge of being asked any questions. I think there should be somebody else doing it, right? Because there were other people, not only Stephen Frost, but there was the other Stephen, I think he's from Atari, who also, like, he was fantastic in interviews. He was interviewed by the Rex's show. That was really cool. you know, like, I'm not seeing anyone else coming out and saying this stuff from Digital Eclipse or Atari and then blocking people for no reason. Right? Because the block is just a confirmation of what you've already stated, like your position. Allegations. Fucking hell, like allegations of what? Stealing? Fraud? Like what? Right? What's the allegation? I saw this one comment that was going around saying that apparently all of us content creators knew, without a shadow of a doubt, that Digital Eclipse could not emulate N64 and Dreamcast. I have never heard anyone, any creator, any website, anywhere, not even, no one, say definitively that they can't do it. You understand that, like, you know, when you have hard answers and you're trying to sell something, and one of those hard answers is an answer that somebody is like either going to be a yes purchase or a no purchase, you kind of don't give those hard answers. You kind of wait, right, until it's just like absolute 11th hour. It's like, okay, yeah, no, this is really our position, right? But now I look at the collectors, because I got it right on one of my tabs on Chrome, right? To get this thing, Australian dollars is going to be about $300 to get from America, and I'm actually reconsidering it, right? Not because Digital Eclipse as a team aren't great, not because Stephen Frost isn't great, not because the games that are coming aren't great, and I'm already going to be buying the game regardless. I was getting both deluxe and collectors for the extra stuff, right? And then I'd have the giveaways. And more than likely, I'll probably still get it. But right in this moment, I'm kind of like going, well, why would I bother? Now, I know it's through limited run games, but obviously it's still connected, right? But why would I bother? Right? And if you can make me feel like this, who has felt nothing but joy this whole time, imagine what you've done to other people as well. For this absolutely distasteful comment, right? And basically making out like these things which you won't even name, right, are being said and done. But obviously it was so egregious that you decided to then cement that by going on a blocking spree for no reason whatsoever, like no reason whatsoever, right? Anyway, I'm gonna leave it there. It's kind of soured me, man. It's kind of soured me a little bit, and I just want to get off my chest because at the end of the day, I've been saying for years, the only thing that really matters is the customer's position, and sometimes, you know, like your heroes don't match up. And I'm not saying he's a hero. I'm just saying that, like, you know, sometimes it's like, wow, kind of mask off moment. You know, I've been pumping out vids about this stuff. I've been hella excited. And now I just kind of feel like, fuck off. Right in this moment, go back and look at my reaction when I first found out about this. And now compare that reaction to right now. And explain to me how the fuck that happened. I'm not disappointed. I'm slightly disappointed because MK Gold. This is not about MK Gold. This is about this tweet. This is about this tweet. And the actions following the tweet. Is that what you really want to do? You want to shit all over the fans that have been waiting 30 fucking years for this stuff to come out? This is what you want to do? Yeah, sure, it's going to sell. But now, you just shit in the pool. And I've used this analogy before just to finalize. What am I talking about? Well, imagine, this is damn aliens, right? They're trying to stop me from doing my video. You got a big swimming pool, right? You got a big swimming pool. and you're down one end at 100. It's like 100-meter swimming, Olympic-sized swimming pool, right? We have one. We have one near us, and all the way down the other end, someone decides to shit. It's just you and them in the pool. No one else, right? You're having a good old time. You're having a gay old time, as they used to say. And they shit in the pool. Now, you're 100 meters away from that turd. But you saw it. You can't unsee it. And you know that regardless of the size of the nugget, you know eventually those little pieces that break off, microscopic, or the turd itself, is eventually going to float up your end and ruin your day. Because you can't unsee it. Right? It's there. You just ruined the whole fucking experience of all that water that completely eclipses the size of the little nugget. All because of that one person's actions. If you can do this to me, and how happy I've been, right? I mean, Dan, you need to have you need to come out and you need to have a better explanation, right? Because saying allegations is acting like you've been accused of something serious, right? Like, I mean, deadly serious. I mean, like, like somehow Digital Eclipse and Atari or whatever is engaging in some sort of nefarious behavior. And somehow nobody can see it except for you. I guess we're just not good enough. Right? We're just not big fans enough to share this stuff. Right? And that is why always take the position of the customer. Because then moments like this, where it's annoying me, I can remove that annoyance out of the equation and go, well, maybe you cost a sale. How about that? You ever thought about that? Or is arrogance too much of a, thing that some people, have because they just think they're untouchable? They think they can say whatever they want and not have any repercussions whatsoever. Well, in the world of gaming, there is one repercussion, and that is a loss of a sale. And people are going to see this. Like, they've seen Dynasty's video and other people's videos and had it being shared, and they're going to look at that and go, you know what? We've had to deal with that in the industry for a while, of developers acting like fucking we owe them, or we just need to just bend the knee. And as he stated in the interview, he's like, oh yeah, go out and support it. Explain to me what makes me want to run out and support this type of attitude. This is a poor attitude. Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there. Let me know what you think. Catch you next time.